thank you both for being with me this morning. Mike, let's talk about this legal hurdle first. Why do we want people who are on the civilian side for at least 7 years? Why was it codified as law?
Well, for a couple of reasons. One, and first and foremost, you don't want a military attitude in the civilian position of the Secretary of Defense, meaning, it takes a long time to grow a general, and once they're there, they have a different take on things and how they ought to work in the Pentagon. When you get to that defense secretary role, it has to be a broader strategic impact brought to any decision you make in any strategic event you make across the world, including the way acquisition of weapon systems and other things. So I think they just want a little distance there to make sure that you don't just take a general and make them secretary. And that's why originally the first and the law was passed to give that 7-year window.
It's not that old a law. Do you think that they get a waiver of it for Mattis?
I think if General Mattis, if they wanted to do that, and my advice would always be, if you want to go that way, that's great. Just remember you have to invest political capital to get your nominee a waiver, and then you have to get your nominee through the Senate. So that's two different processes, and that should be a factor when you're considering if you want this person to be your next Secretary of Defense. And General Mattis has just a stellar reputation, and he is a strategic thinker, by the way, Chris, and I think that's why he's on the list. That's why I think he's under consideration.
Do you believe, Mike, that Mattis represents the best, that you're taking top tier if you go with him?
Oh, absolutely. I've had the great privilege to work with him when I was chairman of the Intelligence Committee, and then subsequent to his leaving his role in the United States Marines. And he got that nickname Mad Dog because he is a very tough warrior, but he is an intellectual warrior. He understands when force is necessary and when force is not advisable. That's why I think he's impressed so many people along his career. And I've had the great fortune to sit with him in occasions where the debate was in a room to do something that was a little bit aggressive and to not do it. And you'd be surprised. This is, again, a very tough warrior who is a strategic thinker that thinks about the second and third order effects of every decision when you use your military. That's why I think he's attractive to the Trump folks, and why he would, if he can go through this process, would be a really good Secretary of Defense. And he's a truth to power kind of guy. He will walk in the room, and I don't think everyone in the room is against his position. He'll explain his position why. It will be based on his 44 years of experience. He'll smart and move out when the decision is made, but he will not be a wallflower about making sure that the people in the room understand his position and why. It will always be well thought out and well reasoned.